In the small town of Hollow Creek, where the streets were lined with ancient oaks and secrets whispered through the wind, there was a tale passed down through generations, a tale that left a lingering chill in the hearts of those who dared to remember. It was the legend of the bed. The story began decades ago when the Emerson family moved into an old Victorian house at the edge of town. The house, shrouded in ivy and surrounded by twisted wrought iron gates, was an imposing presence that seemed to harbor secrets within its decaying walls. The Emersons, blissfully unaware of the dark history that clung to their new home, settled into their new life. The tale unfolded one fateful night when young Emily Emerson, just 7 years old, awoke to a soft, rhythmic tapping beneath her bed. At first, she dismissed it as the usual creaks and groans of an old house settling into the night. But as the tapping persisted, curiosity overcame her fear, and she mustered the courage to look under the bed. To her surprise, she found nothing but darkness and shadows. Relieved, she climbed back into bed, convinced that her imagination had played tricks on her. Little did Emily know that her actions had set in motion a chain of events that would cast a pall over the Emerson family for generations to come. As the days passed, the tapping beneath Emily's bed evolved into sinister whispers. Soft, eerie voices beckoned her to look under the bed once more. Night after night, the whispers grew louder, more insistent. Emily, unable to resist the haunting allure, succumbed to the temptation. One moonlit night, as the town slept in blissful ignorance, Emily peered beneath the bed. The darkness seemed to swallow her, and a bone-chilling cold seeped through her veins. In the shadows, she glimpsed a pair of luminous eyes staring back at her, eyes filled with malevolence and an insatiable hunger for the living. Terrified, Emily recoiled, but the damage was done. The creature from beneath the bed, a malevolent entity that had slumbered in the shadows for centuries, had been awakened. With each passing night, its influence spread like a malignant infection, enveloping the Emerson house in an aura of dread. As the weeks went by, the once happy family crumbled under the weight of fear. Emily's parents, plagued by night terrors and tormented by unseen horrors, became shadows of their former selves. The whispers that emanated from beneath the bed grew louder, no longer confined to Emily's room, but echoing through the entire house. Word of the Emersons' plight spread through Hollow Creek, and the townsfolk, sensing an otherworldly malevolence, avoided the haunted house like a contagion. Desperation drove the Emersons to seek the help of a local priest, Father Matthias, who was known for his knowledge of the arcane and the supernatural. Father Matthias, a stoic figure with weathered features, arrived at the Emerson house armed with ancient texts and sacred relics. He ventured into the accursed room, where the malevolent whispers seemed to coil around him like ethereal serpents. The air grew thick with tension as Father Matthias performed an exorcism to banish the entity back to the shadows. For a brief moment, it seemed as though the ritual had succeeded. The whispers subsided, and a fragile peace settled over the Emerson house. But the entity, angered by the interference, retaliated with unprecedented ferocity. Shadows, once confined to the bed, crept through the house, manifesting in every corner like a living nightmare. Father Matthias, realizing the depth of the darkness he faced, sought the guidance of an ancient tome, said to hold the key to banishing entities that defied conventional exorcisms. The forbidden knowledge led him to a harrowing revelation. The entity under the bed was a manifestation of collective fear, a malevolent force born from the darkest recesses of the human psyche. Armed with this newfound understanding, Father Matthias devised a plan to confront the entity head-on. He enlisted the help of face their deepest fears and confront the entity that had plagued the Emerson family. The townspeople, driven by a collective resolve, gathered at the haunted house, ready to confront the shadows that lurked within. As the clock struck midnight, the group entered the darkened home, armed with candles and symbols of courage. The entity, sensing the approaching threat, unleashed a torrent of malevolence. Whispers transformed into blood-curdling screams, and the house seemed to convulse with an otherworldly energy. In a climactic confrontation, the townsfolk, led by Father Matthias, confronted the creature beneath the bed. As they stood united against the entity, they faced their deepest fears, nightmares that took shape and form within the shadows. The entity, fueled by fear, thrived on the collective terror of those who dared to defy it. But in the face of courage and unity, the entity faltered. The luminous eyes dimmed, and the whispers waned. As the first rays of dawn broke through the curtains, the entity, weakened and fractured, retreated into the shadows, vanquished by the indomitable spirit of the townspeople. With the malevolence banished, Hollow Creek heaved a collective sigh of relief. The Emerson house, once a symbol of dread, stood silent, its decaying walls bearing witness to the triumph of courage over fear. The tale of the bed became a cautionary legend, a reminder that sometimes the most insidious horrors lurk not in the darkness under the bed, but within the depths of our own minds. Make sure to like and subscribe for more content if you enjoyed the story.